So before I start, I like very to thank you first Kyung Park to invite me to Anyang, and I like to thank you the city of Anyang to give us and me the possibility to work in Anyang, and special thank you to the organization and to the hospitality for the hospitality of the last days. It is a great pleasure to be here. Yeah. So I like now to show you a little bit of our work. First, I like to make a very short introduction summary of the basic strategies where our work is focused on, and then I have chosen 4 projects, more 3 projects, and one kind of research we did to show you. Okay, we are Raumlabor Berlin. We are a group of collective group of architects based in Berlin. We are a core of 8. Here you see my colleagues, and at the moment with assistants and interns we work together. I calculated last night 22 people. And about our fields of work, we work in the field of architecture. We call this relational fetish objects. This means wow, I cannot read. I need so it is what I have written there.
Design as research.
Yeah, relational architecture it's very important for us to create a contextual space, contextual architecture. This means that design is also a kind of intensive research of the conditions of the space. This is architecture as an attractor and as a possibility to create a serious and strong relation between the users, the space, and the object. We create urban strategies like processual temporary transformation processes to create a frame of interaction between people and space and disciplines. And we create kind of interventions and actions as we create kind of temporary situative narratives, like fictions which are based on the story of the space, which we try to get part of the processes of the city. For sure, we don't see these fields not independent to each other. There are connections, relations between all these different fields, and we cannot do these projects without collaborations with different disciplines and specialists. And we work together with engineers, with local experts, with citizens, with scientists, so with artists, all people which are able to deal with these conditions, with the space, with the special atmospheres. Yeah, so in our projects we are creating a huge network of people working together. So our focus of work is public space. So the question is, what is public space today? Who is using what kind of spaces we as people can use in public space? So public space is the space where city generates itself, where the culture is developing, and there are radical changes in our cities at the moment. The last 30 years, with collapsing of the industries, with creating new forms of communication, globalization. Disappearing of borders, new borders, like realizing cultural traditions, and what is a very important fact is the relation between the privacy and the publicity. So because of these radical changes, the people are afraid of public space, afraid of city. They disappear in many societies out of the public space, so they hide themselves behind fences. And what we are doing, what we'd like to do is we think it's necessary to take the risk to use the public space, because public space is the only space where you communicate with each other, where you will be in contact with the unknown, and this is very important for process. And what is attracting public space? This is an image of an opening of a shopping mall in Berlin. It is midnight, and the biggest electronic market made this opening with a special offer, like 5 DVD players for only €5, and thousands of people came fighting for this DVD players in the shopping mall. Another attractor is a kind of leisure, it's the using of public space, but it's also, public space is also a communication space, also a kind of different communication between people than normal, and it's a space for possibility of informal economics for people who will not be able to participate in the formal economics. And it's also a space for you to create your free time or to develop your own creativity. What we are doing is we are looking for the special conditions, and we are developing kind of temporary, simple structures to open up the possibilities of the space. So we see our task as architects not as solving problems of the society. We see our task more in creating conflicts, making problems, to open the view and on the conditions of space and on the possibilities. So before we start, we first ask a few questions. What does really happen in public space today? What kind of social exchange is going on? What kind of qualities should public space have? What part can architecture and urban planning play in the production of these qualities? How do people perform their city, their streets and squares? And how do people, and who has access? This is a drawing, it's a visionary world of, it's called the Raumlabor world. It's a collection of all of our projects, and now I start with the first project, and I have chosen a mountain we have built, an artificial mountain. It is just new because of the day before yesterday we saw this artificial mountain, and it is a project we did in Berlin in 2005 together with 2 theaters and a free theater group. It was based in the former center of East Berlin. You see it here on the Google Earth picture. You see the Palace of the Republic. This is an actual picture, but it's not true anymore. The palace is demolished. There is, at the moment, is a lawn, and the discussion at this time 4 years ago was: will we keep the palace, or will it be demolished? And then the alternative was to rebuild the former Prussian castle you see on top, and it's a kind of reconstruction of history, which is the official urban planning line in Berlin at the moment. And it was a really big discussion. The Palace of the Republic was built in 1978 and used as parliament, but also in the middle as a huge public space for the people of the GDR. There were galleries, cafes, bowling centers, discotheques.
Maybe you should explain that GDR was the other.
Yeah, no, GDR, the GDR, the East Germany. It was the parliament of the GDR. GDR was the east part of Germany. Germany was divided like Korea until 1989, and Berlin was divided in 2 parts, in East Berlin and West Berlin. And East Berlin was the capital of the GDR, and West Berlin was a kind of island inside of